So I have a number of topics for today with a, well, everything a live demo, so everything will go wrong probably. But anyway, if you have any questions, just let me know. I will just start with some common stuff, which we have both on the APs and on the switches. I will then do some stuff on the switches, some stuff on the access points, and some stuff that is specific to our security APs, things like that. The things like topology and logging, and maybe I'm forgetting something. I will try to work through this this list and hopefully not forget too much of it. Okay, so first, let me move my my screen. Let me see where it is. Let me start with showing my access points. Making it full screen. So I have my access points. I can open any of them. Let me just start with the diagnostics of my security AP. So when you open up the diagnostic tools, you can always open it up, even if it's not a pro version. And of course, because the first year is free, if you haven't enabled pro, please enable it, because you will have at least this. If the pro is not active, it will take very short, less than a minute, and then it will close the screen again. So it's barely usable, if at all, without pro enabled. So what you can see is the CPU load of your AP. So if it's all 100%, that's probably not good. But even if it's at 100%, for a short while, it shouldn't be too bad. For memory, it's the same. When it boots, it will always have some memory usage. So depending on the AP, it can be at a high level. So it makes sense to sometime, even when nothing is going wrong, to look at these graphs to see how it is behaving normally, because 90% memory might be normal for some of the devices, because memory is also used to load the application, just like Windows. If you start your Windows and you have, it will take up one or 2 gigabytes of your total memory. And if you do not have a lot of memory, it will start very high, but you will still have some room for doing stuff, and also throughput. So I'm not using my Wi-Fi at the moment, at least not very hard. You see little throughput. You can also see something about the channel utilization. So at the moment, my neighbors are not very busy with that. So the channel utilization is something specific for the AP, but of course CPU and memory is a very generic thing. I can click on to see some more stuff. I can do speed tests from here. So from the AP, we obviously have 2 sides to everything. You can talk from wireless device to your AP, and then usually the that device goes through the to the internet. But on the AP itself, you can do the test to the internet to see if that part is okay. Because if somebody is complaining about how fast your Wi-Fi is going, obviously it can be a problem on the Wi-Fi side, but also on the network side. So you can distinguish between those two on this level. It also has some default ping things, so you can see if it is reaching, for instance, Google, Facebook. You can remove any of them, or even add a address to check if it's still replying. Note that this only makes sense to ping things that are usually replying, or actually more like always replying, because if it's something that sometimes replies, sometimes not, you can better not use it, because it might be very confusing that the internet is okay, but this gives wrong values because the server is just not replying like you're expecting. So this is nice to check if from the AP to the internet it is okay specifically. We can also do trace routes if you want. I will skip that. It takes some time. And this, of course, is something which is specific to the APs. You will not have this on the switch. You can check for 2.5 and 2.4 and 5 gigahertz, how the channel utilization is. Note that in this case, you will only see Wi-Fi stuff. You will not see stuff that's also using 2.4 gigahertz like Bluetooth, because that's simply not Wi-Fi stuff, but it may still clutter up your network. If you use the scan, be aware that the Wi-Fi of that radio at that moment will be down. It's exclusive use. So then we're back at our CPU and our memory. So we have seen the most stuff here. Now I will do the same for the switches, but I made myself a little bit hard because I put different devices on the different sites or different networks. So now going to my switches, again, go to the diagnostics. The diagnostics is pretty nice. It shows which out of ports are up. You can also see the different speeds. So I have two things that are connected to 1 gigabit, and I also have a 100 megabit connection. I'm not totally sure why my uplink is 100, just 100 at the moment. But this is something that's sort of wrong, and it should investigate. Again, CPU, memory stuff, also the pings. Here they put it on the same screen and not on a different one. We have something called a cable test. So I connected some different types of cables with different stuff to different. Some were okay, some are not okay, and I connect them up, and I can select the ports and press test, even to devices that are normally connected. If you want to have this give the best possible reply, or get most information with this, I was told that it is best to connect the wire up on the other end to something which is off, like a switch which is not powered, or a computer which is not powered. And then you can press test, which will take a little while. So this will take a little while for two reasons. First, when it's running around like this, it first needs to check to connect to the switch, and after it connected to the switch, then it can do the test, because still the switch is in control. It's asking the cloud what to do, and not the cloud pushing the switch or access point. So you can see that some of my cables are okay, and a number of others are not okay. Actually, this one, it is okay. This is a 12-meter cable, but it sometimes has a little bit of a problem to distinguish this. So if it's saying 12 meters, you can assume it is a 12 meter long cable, and this one, during the measurement, it was simply not having the same measurement. But usually the numbers that are here, they might be a little bit off, but they're okay. Anyway, if you have an open connection, then it's not connected. So what I did here with the difference, there's one cable which is a phone cable which I just pressed in. So the phone cables only have two pairs, the middle ones, and actually the plug doesn't fully fit, but I just pushed it in. So it's only connecting up the middle two pairs. There's another one which is a old cheap cable which has RJ45, but only two pairs are wired, which is usable for 100 megabit, but not for gigabit. Anyway, if it's not showing okay on all four, something is wrong. That said, even if it shows all okay, there's one thing that the cable test will not be able to see. It cannot see if the pairs are correctly wired up, in a sense that if it's testing pair A, it doesn't know if that pair is really the one which is twisted together. For that, you need much more complicated testing equipment. Maybe in the future we also have that capability in switches, but at the moment we do not have that. So it will just test for continuity for the wires and see if that works. And the switch, I have a switch for the ones that are connected. I have a power down switch on the other end, and then it will have a certain amount of resistance on the other end between the pairs. So that way it can see that if it powers up pair one of the wires on pair A, it can see that it gets voltage back on the other and know that there's continuity there. Okay, so that's about the cable test. Again, we have the trace route capability to see if you can get somewhere. Because again, even if the switch is up, even if the switch is available on the internet, if somebody is complaining that they cannot reach a certain server, you can do a trace route from the switch and see where things are going wrong. Another thing that's very handy is the ARP table. Well, in the case for the ARP table, these are the devices that the switch itself is doing stuff with. And note that you just see the VLAN that it's on. You do not see the port. For that, we have something else. We have the client list. And for the client list, you can see that I have a device connected to port 15. And apparently, I also have something that already connected to that AP on port 15. This is the ECW 215 that I know. And I see that I have, I'm showing all of 13. And all the other ones on the port 24 are uplinks. And on port 21, I have another AP. That's a 220. Then actually, what I think is maybe the nicest feature. I think the cable testing is great, but it has some limitations. The cable test is a really nice feature. So just to make sure that I have something to show, I have a ping test running. This is pinging the access points, which is on port 15. And I can just press capture. And then again, it takes a little while for the access points to ask the cloud, do you have something for me? And then when it has, you can see the number counting up. And after it counts up to the duration I gave, then it should download a packet capture, like here. So you can open the file. And then I have my packet capture. And here you can see my computer pinging the access points and it replying. So this is what I'm showing here is very basic, just showing the capability. But of course, usually you will not do this to just ping like this. But like any switch, any layer 2 managed switch, we have the mirror port functionality, which I probably will not show, but we also have that, of course. But that has a downside, and that is that you need to have a computer connected to it, to the mirror port, and then have a packet capture running on that. The upside of that situation is that you can make very large captures. So we do have a limitation on the duration and the amount of data that our switch can capture. There's only so much memory and not a hard disk in it. But you do not need to do all that stuff in this case, because the capture will be made on the switch itself. Put in the memory of the switch, and then when it's done, you can download it directly from the switch. So then I think this can be very good if you need to troubleshoot some voice over IP issues, for instance. Usually you need to do that either on the server or on the client, and now you can also do it in between. And that might at least show if any issues are on the client side or on the server side. So I really like this feature. It's a pro feature, like most of this stuff, but it's really nice. So I think we passed through all the nice features here. Yes. Of course, even when we're here, we can also already see some interesting information from this for diagnostics. So you can clearly see what is the uplink for the switch. So this is the port that the switch is using to connect to the internet. And you can also see that these two ports are powered ports. You can see the lightning symbols that pop up to show you that they're using that. And of course, you have some information regarding the thing without even opening up the details of the device. And because I mentioned it, let me see. So what I said before, I can create a mirror port like usual, but we should only use that for problems that only occur on long duration stuff. Okay, I think I did most of this now. So another tool that can be very handy is the to find out what is going on is the topology view. So I have connected this one to, yeah, you can even see This is connected to port 21. So if I move my mouse, you will not see it, but note that that it is saying that the switch on port 21 has the ECW220 connected to it. And in some cases, you're suddenly surprised because you thought that it was different, and that you plugged in, swapped some connections. So it's very easy to find out here if everything is plugged in like you intended. In this case, if I click on other devices, it might show up some other devices that use the right protocol to show to which device they were connected. In this case, it's offline. So this is the old situation. Okay. Let me see which of my topics I did. Trace out, packet capture. Oh yeah. So one of our stronger features is that we also have something that's called under the clients. I can, if I have a client with an issue, I can click it. Again, it's pro option. Lots of the diagnostics things are pro options. So it makes sense to have pro enabled just to be able to do the diagnostics. So if you have the diagnostics, let me see. You can just see if a device was connected. So I haven't been home for some days, and on the days that I wasn't the whole day that wasn't in, you can see there was no data available. Anyway, you can follow the device. You can see on which radio it is. In this case, it's quite simple. You see that a device switched from one AP to another AP, or actually it disconnected at the point, and then later it's connected again. And so you have the same here. I switched from one device to another device. So when I came in yesterday evening, it first went on my ECW2515, and then I moved to the living room, and it jumps to AP there. And then when I went out of the living room, it switched to the other one again. This is not very interesting if things are going good, well, but if you have some issues with AP, you can see if an AP is sticking to the same access point where you are expecting it to jump to roam to another one, or that when it's roaming excessively, or even when there's a problem on one AP, then that you can see which AP it's connected to when it's having problems. That said, it's usually pretty hard to get clear confirmation from clients what is happening and when it is happening. But it is really a very nice feature. There's one note about this, of course. That is, in this case, you can see that I have a Motorola phone because of the MAC address, but this is only working well because my mobile is set to not change the MAC address. Because if it's changing the MAC address all of the time, then it's much harder to track, because then you will see the same device pop up with different MAC addresses. So if you need to do some traces like this, you have to ask people to change the settings on their devices to not modify the MAC addresses and keep the official MAC address. So that's that. Let me see. So we have some special features, of course, with our air card. Say that people are complaining that they get kicked off the internet. Well, they're probably not saying that they're going to being kicked off Wi-Fi, but probably just internet does not work. So if you have a security access point, you can check for stuff like malicious attacks, like in this case, the authentication attack I did some time ago to disconnect all the APs or all the clients from the AP. Having this feature for the to discover if somebody is intentionally doing denial of service attacks on your networks with the deauthentication attacks, for instance, makes a lot of sense. You can also see the other stuff like the evil twins and the and actually all the other SSIDs that are near your network. I have some presentation about that. Let me see if we can pop it up. Oh, you need to go. And I'll get back to the RF thing. So in this case, rogue SSIDs like an SSID using the same MAC address as your or other SSIDs that aren't supposed to be there. You can classify them as rogue. All the SSIDs by default, we show all the SSIDs by order the SSIDs, and then you can move them to rogue by changing by selecting them and moving them. The evil twins, AP spoofing, and we can also have signal interference. All those kinds you can see. And then there's the one thing that I forgot to show, which I also show now. Go to the access points. Go to diagnostics. So this is a feature that you, at the moment, you only find on our on these IPs. I can select a radio, press activate, wait for the cloud to catch up, or the API to catch up with the cloud, and then it will start with showing the usage. So here you can see that I have some traffic. This is what is normal, and you can see that there are some bursts of Wi-Fi probably, given the width. It's this is just 160 megahertz bandwidth that is, or sorry, the 80 megahertz bandwidth that's being used at the same time for Wi-Fi. If you see something that is just a line straight up, then that's not good. But like this is normal Wi-Fi traffic. Let me check if I went through all the things. Oh yes, we have, of course, we have one more tool which we often forget. We have our event logs. So if you go to the device event or system event, usually there's not too much happening there, but you have this symbol, and if you click on that, you can see that You can also click on General for the system events, and then, well, in this case, where there were no general events coming, but for the device events, go there. If I click on this, I can click on way more things that I want information of. So in this case, I will just click on everything, and then you can see everything that is happening, or everything that is logged. This doesn't go too far back, so it's very limited if you do not have the Pro version, and it has more days of logging when it's the Pro version, but you can get a lot of information about that, like when devices go offline, when devices are connected to ports, when the devices do their firmware upgrade. Here you can even see a channel available check. So this the 336 did a channel available check start at on channel 104 at a certain time. Disassociations. And here you can see that I thought I had disabled it, but okay, apparently my ECW215 still has ACS, or auto channel selection, active, and at a certain point it did that and selected port 40 and switched there. And this can be very, very powerful for finding out things. It's one place we do not look, and also I think that a lot of people are not even aware that they can click on this to see more, or to see something only related to some SSIDs or to some devices or even to some clients. So there's lots of things that you can click and things that you can filter. And topology logic. Yes, I think these are the features that I prepared. I get a question from Mats about the channel utilization. Mats, can you directly a little bit more clearly to where you want me to go? So access points. Still in the diagnostics. Click after Mac. In the AP menu. Okay, go one back. So I'm not showing the MAC addresses in a moment. I can copy this. I think I lost you. Oh, going to filter files. Okay, event loss, filter. over here, there's nothing related to the Bluetooth things. These are purely Wi-Fi devices that you can filter on. But I think that if you send me some screen dumps later, Mats, with exactly where you want me to go, then it will probably be a aha moment. But at the moment, I think there are too many AP menus or menus that you can consider APs, and not enough. So yeah. Any more questions? One that I understand and can answer, or maybe a hard one, also okay. Jesus, I want a question. Come on. Or Hank, any of my colleagues? Oh, okay. I'll check my email. Okay. So if I click on this, you have channel utilization here. As far as I know, again, all the channel utilization here is purely Wi-Fi. This doesn't have anything to do with with Bluetooth or other stuff. Although, of course, the 360S does have a Bluetooth thing. As far as I know, the information from the Bluetooth radio is not integrated into this. Stop when it's a problem. Oh yeah. Oh nice. Well, you can all see that it has a channel conflict with adjacent AP. Yeah, well, if I talk about that, of course, I've been lazy. I think I've been lazy. So here we have the maps and floor plans. So the maps is a Google Maps thingy, but we also have the floor plans, and you can put in the floor plan of the building, and also put in where the devices are physically located. And if you're doing a very thorough job, of course, if you have the access points themselves and open them up, the details at the bottom of the summary, there's a place to put in a photo. So if you want to quickly have an idea from what is happening anywhere, it makes sense to make photos of the devices where they are placed or how they are connected, and upload the photos over here so that you know what is going on even if you're not there. And going back to the other things, I don't think that I have enough problems at the moment in my network to show the other things. Okay. Okay. Let me see if I can plop that one in. Paint. So this one was shared. So I didn't have this, but apparently there's some possibility that the AP can even recognize that you have Bluetooth doing some channel interference. But I expect this is a guess, not a given. And it's a possible issue. So it's just giving up that there is some interference that doesn't appear to be Wi-Fi. And the way that you can find out that you have non-Wi-Fi interference, for instance, is that checksums are damaged, or checksums that do not fit with the packet content. And as soon as the your checksums are off, or packets are only received partially, then there is some conflict, which might be non-Wi-Fi interference. But then it's still very hard to find out if it's Bluetooth or something else. I hope this answers your question. So this is something which is very indirect. Okay. Well, I'm not seeing anyone more having questions at the moment. So let me plop back to my. Oh, I didn't even put it in. Anyway, if anybody has any problem questions in the future, just drop us an email at support@engeniusnetworks.eu, and we will attempt to answer it. Thank you very much for your attention, everybody, and I will see you next time.